Leaky shocks. We've all experienced a leaky shock on a ready to run from your favorite manufacturer. Or you buy a kit. You get the instructions to where you're building the shocks. You do everything the instructions say. You even do a couple extra things like oil on the O-rings, or O-ring grease on the O-rings, or green slime on the O-rings. You cycle the shock. You bleed it out correctly per the instructions. You go upstairs, come down the next day, and what do you find? Oil under your truck. You thought you did everything correctly. So what do? Well, you scoop it all up, you rub it on your face, you rub it on your hands, and now you've been moisturized to do it all over again. That's just what we do. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. It's free. And join me in the garage on the other side. Welcome to Henry's RC Garage, where Henry is doing all the work right now by putting that rear shock on. You did not come here by accident, you came here by choice because you have a leaky shock, or 2, or 3, or 4. Well, in any case, I've got a method I'm going to show today. Hopefully that will help prevent us from leaky shocks. I've got a upgraded shock and I've got a kit shock. Each one is kind of different. The upgraded shock you kind of have to put together, which is the X-ring, the spacers, and the C-ring. Whereas the kit shock, they already come pre-assembled with all that in it. So anyway, I've got a method. We're going to go through it and we'll come back. The upgraded shock shaft. So we're going to take that and we're going to put some plumber's tape on the thread so that we protect the X-rings and the spacers and stuff like that. And we pre-built this with the E-clips and the piston. So let's first slide that down into the shock shaft or shock body here. Okay, so the whole trick here is to put everything on and then slide everything up in there and then put the C-clip in, so that you're not sliding your shock shaft down through the X-ring and stuff like that. So you can lube them up with the X-rings and the spacers. You can lube them up with O-ring grease or associated green slime. So today I've got O-ring grease on the bench, so we're just gonna kind of put some grease on here, just a little bit of grease, kind of work its way in a little bit. And then we're just going to slide that on over over our shaft here. Whoops. Like that. We're just going to slide that on like that. Then we're going to take an X-ring, kind of get some grease on that. Should use these. Just kind of get both sides, just enough in there to get that on there. So we're going to put that on. See, now this goes on with ease, so you're not gonna ruin it. So, I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this other spacer here, and then we're gonna slide that on over it. And we're gonna put our second X-ring on. Get that some grease on there. And don't worry about the grease. You get too much on there, don't worry about it. It'll all come off. Not all come off, but all the excess will come out in the end. So then we're taking our final here, put some little bit of grease on that, slide that on. Like that. So when it's all said and done, you got your X-rings already, the spacers, the X-ring, the spacer, and then the X-ring, and then the final spacer. Just kind of slide that up into the shock body. Like that. So I have some of these C-ring pliers that on the Vanquish's rebuild kit on the website, it has the Nipex pliers for the C-ring, and it's the 4811J0. These are like the 8 to 13 millimeter. So I kind of just get it prepped here, put it in the hole. Just slide it into the hole here. I'm probably doing this all wrong, but you know. So now we're just going to squeeze it together here, and then we're just going to put it in there, and then there's little grooves in there, so I'm just going to kind of hold it, and then use a screwdriver. Let me pop my shock out a little bit. Clean up some of the grease here. And we should be good to go. Yep, it's in there. So now we're just going to take this plumber's tape off. Now that we got that all taken care of. So we're going to cover our grease up here, and then we're going to get our shock pliers, and we're going to put the rod end on. It just should screw right on. The rod end is the same as the Phoenix straight. And since I'm working on a Phoenix, or not a Phoenix, but the Fordyce, these are the same rod ends. And just go to the bottom of the threads, and you should be good. Okay. There you go. So what I do here is we're going to get those out of the way, get that out of the way. We're going to put in a couple drops of shock oil. I'm using 50 weight, but we're going to put a couple drops in just to kind of lubricate the sides a little bit. And I'm going to work the around a little bit, get it all lubed up in there. And then I'm going to fill up the shock to about the bottom of the threads. Whoop, too much. Then we're going to cycle it a couple times. Yep, that's about the bottom of the... Just put that aside for the moment. And then we're going to prepare our shock cap. The shock cap I'm using today I'm not using the plastic, I'm going to use the aluminum ones. And I'm going to grease up our O-ring a little bit here. Whoops, that's a lot. Okay, I'm just going to put that on. We're just going to break our way onto that. There it is. It's seated now. There. Now we'll just take some off. All right. So now we're going to get our 1.5 and we're going to take out the bleeder screw. You could have probably had the bleeder screw out, but it's okay. Okay, so now let's make sure we don't lose that. All right. So now we can put that on our newly built shock here. We're going to screw that on. And then we will bleed it. Okay, so that's on there pretty securely now. Let's just take some of the other stuff off here. Okay, so we're going to cycle it a couple times. Let some of that oil come out, if any. There it is. Yeah, see, there was still some in. There's some in there. So we're gonna take some of that came out, and then we're gonna put our bleeder screw back in. Yep. Okay, so let's put our bleeder screw back in. Again, have the piston all the way to the top. And then put our... There it is. Okay, so we got that all on. So let's get our spring. What did I do with the spring? Okay, so we're going to take the spring. Oh, it's over here. So we're going to take the spring, and we're going to put that on. And we're going to get our shock retainer, shock spring retainer in. We're going to put that on. It'll only go on one way, and it'll seat right into in there, and you'll get your screw. You got a screw here that you would put in the screw, and then I don't have the screw handy. I don't know what to do with it, but oh well. So anyway, then you can at this point you can adjust your spring rate by taking your shock collar and screwing it down a little bit, and then tighten it up, and then cycle it a couple times. Works pretty well. All right, so with that, we're going to set this one aside. This one's built, so we're going to set that aside. And hopefully what we did here is, the way we did it here is going to help us prevent from the shock from leaking in the future, either from the top or from the bottom. So, well, do you have leaky shocks now after that video? Well, time will tell. Don't know. Hopefully it prevents our shocks from leaking, because everybody hates leaky shocks. Anyway, Henry got the rear shock on. He's working on the front shock now. We've got the kit shocks up next. Again, the kit shocks are pretty much pre-built when it comes to the X-rings and the spacers and the C-rings. So anyway, we're going to cut away to another video, and we'll come back and have our final thoughts. So the second part of this is we have the kit shocks, right? So the kit shocks, they come with it already built. The cartridges, like the X-ring, the spacers, the C-clip, it's already in there. So all we're going to do here is I want to put in a little bit of oil at the bottom, just so it comes out the end, like comes out the other hole here. So I want it to pre-seat. I'd like to have it pre-seat the X-ring and the spacer and stuff like that before I slide the shock shaft through. Like with the previous one, this is the stock shaft. I pre-built it. I did use the machine piston. I built it the same way, but the kit has the plastic piston that you take off the tree, the parts tree. But I'm using the machined one. So got that all put together. What I'm going to do here is I put the plumber's tape on. Probably don't have to do this because you get the plumber's tape on, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put this into a little bit of grease. Kind of just dip it in. And I'm just going to kind of take that. I'm going to slide that through the bottom of the hole here. Take your time, like you don't want. You just take your time. Just slide it through a little. You know, just don't force it. Just let it go through. It will eventually go through, and you can take it out the other side. There you go. So there, we got that all taken care of. Well, welcome back after that little short clip. Henry's got the front shock on and tires all back on, and we're now back on all fours. Hopefully this was some help to some of you. I've experienced leaky shocks. I took this Fordyce out of the box after maybe a year, 12, maybe 13, 14 months. I think is when I took it out. Anyway, it was at least 12 months plus. So anyway, when I took it out, the original shocks that came on it, they did not leak. So they were completely filled full of oil, and there was no leaks. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the way we put these shocks together at times. Maybe we're in a hurry. Maybe we're just going too fast. And the instructions are pretty good when you want to put oil in them and cycle them and put the cap on and all that stuff. So, but anyway, hopefully that gives us a little bit of insight on how to hopefully prevent leaky shocks. Time will tell if this method works or not. Anyway, if you have not done so already, please like and subscribe, share if you can, and I will catch you on the next one.